This is a Columbia HG or home grand machine. There were several models of home grand. A little while after they introduced this one, they introduced one with a much bigger, much more ornate case with a 6-spring motor. And I'm going to do a video on that so you can look for that. This machine plays the 5-inch grand cylinders, as they were called by Columbia, or concert cylinders, as they were called by Edison. These were much bigger wax cylinders than the ones you'd usually see. The reason being that having a longer surface area on it, the quality of the sound was better. And at that time, cylinders weren't very loud, and using them with a horn did not produce enough volume. So it was felt that this would give you the extra volume and quality, and they do sound better. Within a few years, they were sort of outdated because the cylinder technology evolved enough that the regular size cylinders were sounding really good, loud and clear. So this was introduced, the cylinder, in 1898 by Columbia, followed shortly by Edison. And originally these cylinders were used for dubbing, copying cylinders onto the smaller size cylinders. And then they decided, well, why don't we just market these themselves as this side? But you can see they take up a lot of space. So they were kind of a boutique item, you could say. This machine here is a little bit bigger than the Columbia AT. It looks similar to the Columbia AT, and it's basically based on that. It's a lot taller here because of the larger mandrel, you needed to make the front a bit bigger. It also has a shaver on it, which means you could shave and record your own cylinders. And I've tried to do that on these machines, and it's not very successful because adjusting the shaver into the cylinder is really fussy. On the Edison, there's an adjustment screw that pushes the shaver closer to the cylinder a little at a time, and you can get it exactly where you need it. On this one, this piece here called the trunnion, which holds the reproducer and the horn, a lot of times these are made out of pot metal, which is a cheap metal they use to cast them, and they fall apart. This one here I've had replaced, so this is a replica of one, but it's made out of brass, so it doesn't have the same problems that the pot metal ones do. It won't crack over time and fall apart. And it's a shame because a lot of Columbia machines are not usable simply because this single part here failed. It's a 2-spring motor, so it can play through a cylinder quite well. When I bring you in closer to see, we'll see some of the details of the trunnion and the shaver. And like a lot of the Columbia machines, the cases were made really nice. They decorated them much better than the Edison ones. And you probably heard me say that before, but I'm a big Columbia fan. In 1900, so only a year or two after this was introduced, it was replaced by the AG. This is an HG. It would be replaced by the AG. And that machine had a black cast bed plate and was a little cheaper, so the price dropped. And then they put this kind of machine in a bigger cabinet. Okay, so let's come in close for a view of it, and then let's hear a cylinder on it. You can see the lid. Quite ornate. This wasn't a cheap machine at the time either. This was probably $75 or $100. There's the boxes for the cylinders. These are Columbia boxes. There's a cylinder. And there's the machine. Look at that decal. I think that's one of the reasons I love Columbia so much. The woodwork, the large decal. You can see this. The gears that are sometimes here are enclosed, which means it'll be a little bit quieter when it runs. The ones with exposed gears tend to be a little louder. There's the trunnion, that piece there. This tube has been replaced and that has been replaced. And then there's the shaver. It's got a sapphire sort of sharp blade on it to shave the cylinders. The decorations on the side are very nice, and this one they're still intact, which is good. And then there's the ID plate. And you can see the crank's about to fall off. Like all the Columbias of this era, the machine unwound as it played, and so the cranks tended to fall off, so it's better to remove them before you play it. So let's hear what this one sounds like. Okay, this is a particularly light colored cylinder. I really like the look of these really light wax ones. I don't know why, but okay, let's hear it. I gotta Raise that.
Just close by, and the Iceman leaps in his supply. Then orders 10 pounds of coffee and ground, 10 pounds of his butter and 30 a pound, and 10 pounds of sugar, 10 pounds of tea. How many pounds in all says he? The grocer then says 40 pounds are there, 40 pounds of ice, so that makes a